All right. Hello, hello, hello. What is up, everyone? We are back with more Life is Strange Remastered. I tried to do another on theme makeup situation today. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little bit of a mess. I did the white eyeliner on top with sort of an eyeshadow base, and then hang on, let me just take off my glasses. And then blue eyeliner. It kind of looks black on stream, but yeah, it's a bit messy and it kind of blended a bit with the white. I don't know. I don't know what that was. The important thing is that I tried. I think I need to stop trying to do makeup that's on theme because it's not my strong suit. It's really not my strong suit. I need to stick to simple shit. Anyways, I realized I should have worn this shirt last stream because of the whole moon situation, double moon and two lesbians in the sky, yada yada. But I think that you still see the double moon in this episode, and it is very, very gay, so it's still on theme. So yeah, I think that covers everything. Let's just get right into it. Episode 5, Polarized. Also, I made the title of this stream a Phoebe Bridgers reference specifically for Rory if they do show up, but also a little bit for me too. It'd be interesting to see if anyone else gets it. I think there's supposed to be music here because I don't remember this episode starting so silent. Yeah, there's probably supposed to be music here. I think the problem with this is if you mute the music, it mutes all the OST as well, not just the copyright soundtracks. So it's just awkwardly silent in places, which is really not great. Oh, I knew I forgot something. Damn it. My Twitch overlay. I was I feel like I've forgotten something. Jesus. Okay. Twitch overlay. See if it actually works this time, because it did not want to cooperate with Tomb Raider. If you were here on Wednesday, it just did not want to show up over my game when I was playing Tomb Raider. Okay, it seems to be working. Yes, it seems to be working. Okay, that's good. I love how her nail polish is so messy and shitty. It feels very on brand with Max. God. Okay, I think we can move now. Potentially, I'm not sure.
Chloe?
The first thing she says when she wakes up is Chloe. God damn.
It's a dark room.
Is anybody out there? Please help!
I'm not really sure how to turn her head. There we go. It was the mouse. Cool. Okay, so
Finally, I'm free. Almost.
yeah, this episode is just deeply
I don't
upsetting.
remember anything that happened. This must be the same drug Nathan used on Kate.
This episode is just deeply upsetting in 90% of it.
I don't
Right,
remember
already looked
anything
at
that
Okay,
happened.
the photo.
I hate looking at myself like that. You'll pay for this, Jefferson.
Oh god, we gotta do more focusing. No, I suck at doing this on the keyboard.
I promised I would never go back in time like this again. But this is the only way.
Let me know if the game's too loud. I had to turn down the audio output thing like last minute because I realized I like restarted it because I was switching from Tomb Raider to this game. Anyways, it's a whole thing. But like, and then I had to turn it down again. So I don't know. Like, just let me know if it's okay. This is gonna make me want to cry again, isn't it? Out of pure frustration.
Great. Oh, Max.
There we go, got it. God, his like gross ass whispers, like, so uncomfortable.
This angle highlights your purity, see? The slightly unconscious model is often the most open and honest. No vanity or posing, just pure expression. Oh, Christ. Look at that perfect face. Hold that stare there! Stay still!
I'm uncomfortable. I'm really uncomfortable.
Oh, Max! You fucked up my shot! But please don't worry. We have all the time in the world. For now, I knew you were special the second I saw your first selfie. Yes, I still hate that word.
I'll let him finish his stupid little
But I
villain monologue,
love
and then we'll
the
get into
purity of your own
discourse.
image. Not like Rachel, who was always looking in the wrong places. Poor Rachel. Wait. Let me try this angle. Don't move! Much better. Thanks, Max. If only Nathan could see this setup. He tried so hard. But you can't just throw a few subjects around and expect a cohesive style or theme. But he had an eye for shadows, and an eye for a whole lot more, as his elite family will find out, along with Arcadia Bay. Nice. Good. Oh, those eyes. It's just too bad you're so goddamn nosy, Max. But this room is under 24/7 surveillance, so all I had to do was text you from Nathan's phone. And you fell right into my hands. You really should have focused on schoolwork, not private detecting with your little friend.
The emphasis he puts on friend.
Chloe. Right. Yeah, I'm sorry that Nathan killed her in self-defense. But she had a troubled history like most Arcadia Bay dropouts. Nobody will be surprised. Or care.
Fuck
Though
you.
I promise, people will care when you die tonight, Max. I wasn't lying when I said you have a gift.
Piece of shit.
Okay. Now this looks good. Maybe a few more close-ups. Max, please do not move so much. I need you posed and framed my way. Maybe a new dose will calm
Yeah,
you down.
that's interesting, right?
Now don't move or this will hurt much. Stupid bitch! You just don't listen, do you? In fact, you never did hear much in my class. If you had, you might have seen all this coming. God damn, you are a fighter, though. I've had my eye on you, and I've noticed that you've been more fearless this week than maybe your whole life.
No.
Remember my number one rule.
Her eyes are so much more
Always take
expressive
a
in
shot.
this remaster. Hate that guy. Yep. Me too, Steve. Me too. Hate him with a flaming passion. I think he's like my least favorite Life is Strange man.
Jesus. I can't believe that happened. So sick.
Which is really saying something if you think about it. Oh, Victoria's here. Okay. Let's do discourse now. Discourse time. Okay, so like a lot of what I'm about to say, like Sarah already covered in the Game Assist stream of the remaster, but I'm gonna just kind of like expand on that and sort of like, I don't know, go off of my thoughts in general. Yada yada yada. Okay, so like I've already spoken a bit about the whole themes of this game regarding framing and the gaze and the lens, and how that relates to like the male gaze and themes of gender and power and also gender depression. But of course it's made more apparent in regards to Mark Jefferson and like what he does, to these women, like drugging and assaulting them, essentially, like drugging them and then like taking photos of them while they're tied up and like passed out or like so drugged out of their minds that they can't fight back. And like he's doing this because he gets into that a little bit longer because later, because of course every stupid annoying ass villain needs to have an annoying ass villain monologue about how brilliant he is and oh my god, no one understands his vision and blah 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 blah. But anyways, the whole thing for him is like it's about purity, right? It's about this idea of purity, and it's also about like he talks about the absence of vanity, like the slightly unconscious model is often the most often the most open and honest, no posing or vanity, blah 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 blah. Anyways, hi Helena, we're just getting into some gender discourse. Yeah, and then it's interesting when you think about. Oh no, I lost my train of thought. Fuck. I loved having ADHD. It's so fun and not at all an incredibly frustrating experience. And something that often makes it nearly impossible to get shit done, especially under this capitalist society. But anyways, what was I saying? Gender, vanity. Yeah. Okay, so like the whole thing about posing is like it expresses agency, right? When someone poses in a picture, especially in a selfie, which is interesting that he says he likes her selfies or he knew she was special when he saw her selfies, because you think he wouldn't, because he doesn't like selfies, but he likes Max's image in those selfies, which is interesting because you think he wouldn't be okay with that because she is framing and posing herself, which is something that he doesn't like. He wants to frame and pose and essentially like position these women like they're objects and frame them under his lens, his gaze, which is about what he sees as highlighting purity, which, as we spoke about in the last episode, is from what we've seen essentially like white women that are usually like not very sexual and don't express, a lot of sexual agency or agency in general, like girls like Kate, girls like Max, like girls who seem, kind of shy and demure. It's like that idea of like what a woman is supposed to be, I guess, in a sense, and what like society connects to purity is essentially like the lack of agency, I guess, in women, as well as, especially like I said, the lack of sexual agency. And if you think about the difference between how he talks about Max and Kate and how he talks about Chloe and Rachel, because he didn't choose Rachel, right? Rachel was Nathan's choice. Because Rachel, she was posing and she had vanity and she had agency, right? And like she was a very sexual person who had sexual relationships and she expressed her agency in ways that he didn't like, he didn't approve of because misogyny, blah blah blah. Anyways, and it's the same for Chloe as well. And Sorry I'm late today. No, it's okay, you're not late. I basically just started. We've only really had one scene, and then I got into discourse. So you're not that late. Don't worry about it, Helena. Where was I? Is there anything else I was gonna say? God, I hate my stupid. I need to go back on this. Oh yeah, and in regards to all of that, if we think about, I think I mentioned this before, if we think about Max and the way she takes photos, I've spoken about this before, she can either, like, replicate those male power structures, i.e. just taking a photo instead of intervening like the way David did, like being an observer, and also being a framer in regards to that photo she takes of Alyssa from the back, where she's clearly framing her and positioning her under her lens. Photos that she takes of Chloe from the back with like the sunset, and also the one of her in the chair, versus like the photos she takes where Chloe is like clearly expressing agency and posing and positioning herself, like the one of her in the cozy chair in episode 3 where she poses. And like, it's not necessarily so black and white, cut and dry as like, oh, someone is posing, therefore they have agency, versus you're framing them or taking a photo of them unaware, therefore they don't have agency. Like, it's not necessarily so like cut and dry, black and white like that, because as we know with models, like, the posing is very like, what's the word we're looking for here? I can't think of the right word, but it's specific, it's purposeful, and it's like to serve a certain image. And that image is usually aligned, especially within fashion photography, to service a male gaze. Like, so the models don't really have as much agency as they would as like the photos would like you to think, because someone is telling them essentially what positions to take. So it's not necessarily always so cut and dry. But like, I do think it's interesting looking at some of the photos Max takes and comparing that to the idea of like Jefferson, like, trying to frame and position people. And like, to a certain extent you could argue photography is about framing and positioning people, but like, it doesn't have to be about like your gaze and your will and your like essentially vision or lens overpowering like the subject agency, making the subject you don't have to make the subject an object, essentially, you know, because like we talk about the male gaze. What game are you playing today? Life is Strange. Life is Strange Remastered, one of my favorite games of all time, and a game I've played multiple times and get into constant discourse about, and now you are witnessing one of my many TED Talks on the subject. Yeah, so like, what was I saying? Okay, yeah, so we talk about the male gaze in media, and like that term has kind of been like appropriated in general society to the point where like it doesn't really make a lot of sense anymore, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to talk about the male gaze in the sense of like a general like just out in the world society sense. Like, sure, in terms of photography, in terms of magazines, in terms of advertising, in terms of movies, stuff where you literally have a camera, a lens, and you are framing subjects, and you are creating a gaze, you are creating a clear assumed subject position. You are assuming who the audience is, and then you are creating an object, an other, the person, or let's be honest, more accurately, the thing for the subjects to gaze upon. You know, you think about the way women are often framed in movies, you know, like, it's not just about them being sexualized, it's about them being, like, dehumanized. Like, they cut, like, shots will often cut body parts, you know, like, just, like, tits, basically, or thighs, or, like, stomachs, or butts, or whatever, and, like, often, like, not focus on faces. And then you have, like, often the, main male white cishet character that the audience, is supposed to like project onto and relate to, because the assumed audience is that like cishet white man, right? Like, that's essentially what the male gaze is. And if you think about like, if you think about the male gaze versus like the female gaze, like, I think the female gaze, or I like to call it the feminine gaze, because that way it's not so like weirdly gendered and like, you know, like, it's not so binary, and like not everyone who essentially relates to the female gaze is necessarily female, but like the female or the feminine gaze often focuses a lot on emotions, often focuses a lot on faces and hands, on connection, and I would argue it should focus on agency, particularly the agency of the object that we are viewing. We shouldn't be just viewing objects. We should be viewing a person and a character with clear agency and autonomy, not just something for us to gaze upon. And, like, if you think about photography and you think about the conversation at the beginning of this game regarding Diane Arbus and what I said in the first episode, how, like, I thought that Jefferson and Victoria's takes on Diane Arbus were extremely reductive and wrong and stupid and ableist. The whole she saw humanity as tortured thing, because it's not true, because she photographed as a person that we would politically nowadays describe as disabled. She photographed other disabled people. She photographed houseless people. She photographed trans and queer people. She photographed, like, addicts, like, all kinds of people who, like, society would often deem, like, outcasts or, like, freaks or, like, the other, essentially. She photographed the other, but in those photographs, there's a clear sense of agency and trust and connection within the way she framed those photos, because the subject is, like, expressing their agency in the way they look back at the camera and make eye contact. And, like, it's just about the way that these things are done and the way these things are framed. And, like, so it doesn't have to be about, like, creating an object position and framing an object. Like, the gaze doesn't have to be so violent, and the gaze doesn't have to strip the, like, subject, what you're photographing or what you're filming, of its autonomy or humanity, necessarily. Like, people can still be people in photographs, essentially, is what I'm trying to say, and movies, and they should be. And, like, I don't know a lot about photography, granted, but, like, I do know about gender, and I do know about media, essentially, and, like, I think that, like, it's interesting, like, a lot of the themes and ideas that this game rises and how it explores it in regards to photography. Like, honestly, I think that this game in particular has, like, one of the cleanest, like, through lines in terms of the themes that this game presents regarding, like, what it's trying to express and say and sort of discuss, as opposed to the other Life is Strange games. Like, I love all of the Life is Strange games. I think that they do certain things really well. They all do certain things really well, and they all have their weaknesses. And, like, I love all the games for different reasons. But I think in terms of, like, a cohesive theme and, like, I keep saying, like, clean through line, like, this game feels the most clean to me, for lack of a better word. Like, this game feels the most, like, cohesive, like, through line, like, straight shot. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, in terms of, like, it's clearly, like, doing a thing clearly from start to finish, and you can clearly tell where that thing is, whereas Before the Storm, some of the themes are a little messy in places, and, like, that third episode is a bit of a mess, and, like, I'm kind of trying to, like, sift through all of it now that I'm doing my video essay, and I'm realizing that, like, I can't really analyze it as easily as you could analyze maybe, like, the first game or even the second game or even True Colors, because, like, it is a bit messy in places, but I think I can piece something together. Anyways. So, yeah, that's my long-ass TED Talk rant on the, like, gender photography in this game that no one asked for, but I decided to give anyways. And what's interesting, if you go into stuff about, like, sexuality later on, like, Jefferson gets into this later on a bit, and, like, queerness and stuff in regards to Chloe and Rachel, how that's really interesting.
No. That picture isn't going to help.
Okay, yeah, that's the old one.
I can't go through all that again. I won't. Whoa. I'm definitely more awake in this photo. I could try this one. Whoa.
Okay, yeah, we already
I'm
looked at
definitely
that.
more awake in this photo. I could try this one.
By the way, Steve, let me know if you're getting, like, feedback from the game, like, into the microphone. Please and thank you.
Wait. Jefferson couldn't handle stains on his photos. Good. Now I can use them.
Steve's fine right now. Cool, okay.
This might work. Please work.
I forgot how much focusing you have to do in this game. I suck at this part. Okay, come on, let's do this, sweetie.
Wise yet so innocent.
his like gross ass whispers too are like getting to me. It's like, ugh.
I'm getting some spectacular images here, Max. Yes, Victoria would kill to be in your place, but she doesn't understand our
Well, I forgot to talk to
connection.
Victoria. Shit.
You're the winner, Max.
It's fine.
I choose you. Your portrait.
It's fine.
Fuck you. You're trying too hard. I know you're scared. You all have the same doe-eyed look when you wake up here, replaced by fear as you realize what's about to happen.
Mr. Jefferson, why are you doing this?
Oh, Max. I'm so glad you asked that question.
Yeah, and
Simply
here,
put,
and now we get the whole like fucking like rant about like how he's such a tortured genius and blah 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 blah, and it's so fucking pathetic. But anyways,
I'm obsessed with the idea of capturing that moment innocence evolves into corruption. That shift from black to white to gray and beyond. Most models are cynical. They lose that naivete. However, some Blackwell students carry their hope and optimism with them like an aura. And those lucky few become my models. My subjects.
Yes, you're a psychopath. And this is your last session.
I'm not a fan of like when games and media and like TV shows, movies and shit throw around words like psychopath in regards to like a man who was doing some like violent shit, usually towards women, because like it's not antisocial personality disorder 9 times out of 10, it's just misogyny. And like if you think about how like political and like biased psychiatry is, like we won't necessarily really get into that right now, but it's like I think it's interesting, like the way that seems to be like a label we often apply to just like men who are like brutalizing women, instead of being like, hey, we've created a very like misogynistic society that dehumanizes women and kind of like shrugs our shoulders at gender-based violence, at least until it reaches a certain breaking point. Maybe certain people who were like not okay in certain ways and or had certain ideas about certain things could like be pushed to a certain breaking point due to the fact that we thrive on a culture in a society that essentially teaches people that women are inherently worthless. Like maybe we should take some accountability for like the kind of culture we've created, instead of just being like, oh, so psychopath, sociopath, like, and just having to like wash your hands of it because like, oh, like he was just crazy or whatever, you know?
Au contraire, Max. I'm so sane that nobody knows what's happening to you right now. As you can see, Sleeping Beauty here is too harsh for my gentle lens. And don't get me started on your
That's
late
Victoria.
partner.
I couldn't see
I had
her,
enough
but
of those faux punk sluts in my Seattle days.
I think he was pointing at her. Yeah, because if you think about it, I think Nathan chose Victoria because Victoria isn't Jefferson's usual type. Like, she is someone who expresses sexual agency, and like we see in episode 3 how disgusted he is by the idea of her like making a move on him, and like how disgusted he is with her like so-called like immoral behavior. I mean, like, yeah, like flirting with your teacher is wrong, yada yada. But like for him, it's very much about like he said, like a lack of purity. Like, versus, like, someone like Max or Kate who is, like, pure. And what he considers purity is, like, heavily linked to, like, sex. Which, like, is a thing in our society. And, like, the way he talks about Chloe is obviously linked to that. And it's also, as you'll see later, like, heavily linked to, like, queer phobia and, like, ideas about, like, you know, like, being inherently dirty because you are sapphic and you are like having relationships and having sex with like other sapphics, essentially.
You killed Chloe. You murdered my best friend.
She had a loaded weapon. This was clearly self-defense, but that's what
bullshit.
happens when you play with guns. Or try to fuck with me. It's better when they don't know. Like pure, sweet Kate.
Kate believed, and she survived. You failed to break her. She's stronger than ever, and she'll outlive you.
She'll certainly outlive you. Who knows? Maybe I'll pay Kate a visit soon and test her faith again.
You will not get away with this. I want you to know that.
Too bad you already made a convincing argument against Nathan in the principal's office. Thank you so much for setting him up for me. I do know that the Prescotts are going to have a major scandal when the town finds out what their elite son has been doing for homework.
I mean, to be fair, he was involved, but, like, Nathan wasn't, like, the main person responsible for all of this.
You used Nathan.
I prefer the term manipulated. Like with an image.
Like with an image.
Nathan's was
God,
easy
I
to
hate him
twist
so
around.
much.
I became a sort of father figure for Nathan. It happens often in teacher-student relationships. It was kind of touching for a while.
Did you tell him everything about your plans at Blackwell?
Don't be stupid, Max. I told him what he needed to hear. In return, I had access to the Prescott fortune. Who do you think paid for this glorious darkroom and equipment? How else could I get all these hip new drugs for my
These hip
subjects?
new drugs.
Rachel Amber was your victim, not your subject.
Oh. Rachel Amber. That's the real tragedy. Nathan thought he could be an artist like me. Instead, the dumbass gave her an overdose.
Yeah, because if you say Chloe and Rachel, then he says some gross lesbophobic bullshit. But, in regards to Nathan, yeah, like, he's clearly very, like, very not okay, and, like, his situation that he's in, like, regarding his family, and also we talked about this in previous episode. So, you know, like, the systems of power that, like, influence us, like capitalism and, like, cis-hetero patriarchy, blah, 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 you know, he's been, like, encouraged to be this way, mostly by his father for, like, a very, very long time. He's, like, been raised to believe that he's entitled to get everything he wants. He rarely ever faces consequences for his actions, and also his, like, family is incredibly toxic, and his father is abusive, and, like, he's just obviously, like, he's disabled. Like, he's obviously, like, I wouldn't, like, try to, like, diagnose him or pin, like, a certain label on him, but he's obviously, like, mentally speaking, not well. And, like, Jefferson definitely took advantage of that and manipulated him, but, like, I still place blame on Nathan, obviously, for what he did, and I still place blame on Nathan for killing Rachel, even if it was an accident. Like, I'm still, obviously, extremely mad about that, because she's Rachel Amber, and she's very near and dear to my heart, especially since I've played Before the Storm. I think I have seen both of these dialogue options. I'm not sure which one I want you guys to see more, though, because I think they're both interesting, but let's just go with this
Chloe
one.
and Rachel. You killed both of them.
They're fucking together in heaven right now. Is that what you want to hear?
Why? Why?
Why? Start listening to me, you dumb cunt.
And then he calls her a cunt. Wow.
I'm sorry, Max. That was not cool. Anyway, Rachel is dead. But no tears. Los Angeles would have killed her anyway, so look at this as a favor.
You're evil.
Oh, I see. You're good because you stopped your friend from beating Nathan up.
I cared more about Nathan than you did.
No, you didn't. It's just too bad that he fell in lust with Rachel. He actually thought he could mimic what I do with the camera and subject, like father, but not like son.
Where is Nathan now?
Dead and buried. After what he did to Rachel, I knew I couldn't keep him as a protege for much longer. Now the police will never find his body. Do you finally get it now, Max? I can't compromise my vision with amateurs.
You are an amateur. Look at the trail of death you left behind. You can't blame all this on Nathan. I don't care what you do to me. You're gonna die, motherfucker. For Chloe
Go off,
and Rachel
Max.
and everybody else.
Go off my baby.
I do love your spirit, Max, but you brought yourself here. By your own choice. Anyway, I like my models to be seen and not heard.
That's also interesting. When he says, I like my models to be seen and not heard, it reminds me of this old, like, saying. I think people used to say children should be seen and not heard, and, like, my brain is going, like, something, women are often compared to children, often infantilized in the same way that children are. Obviously, Max is also still very young, and, like, I think a lot of people, like, approach women in the same way often, too, that they should be seen and not heard. I'd forgotten how harsh this gets. I certainly had not, Steve. I certainly had not, because I have played this game multiple times and I've seen multiple playthroughs of this game. I knew all too well how fucking awful this gets, but it makes for some good discourse. I do kind of wish I'd showed you guys the other dialogue option now, but I think they talk a bit about Rachel and Frank, and it's like, it's interesting how he talks about her, like, in regards to, like, how he completely disregards, like, her agency and, like, completely, like, dismisses all of that as, like, oh, like, it was just a phase, whatever, she would have gone over it. Like, it's interesting because you think he would, like, demonize her and condemn her the same way he does Chloe, the same way he does Victoria. But, like, instead he seems to, like, shrug it off and, like, just dismiss it and be like, oh, it was just a phase, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I think maybe it's indicative of, like, something. Like, obviously he didn't care about Rachel, but, like, he had some sort of fascination with her. Not exactly sure what that's about, but anyways, yeah.
You'll have to make sure there's nothing left behind of you. Okay. Now, let's see how these shots came out. I can see why your instant camera is so appealing. You don't need a computer to print your work out.
Max could kill him, rewind time, and kill him again and again. Would that count as abusing her power? Maybe, but I don't care. I would do it. I think it's entirely justified.
Sorry. This is not art.
Exactly. This is not art. This is abuse.
Personified.
I have all those photos in my diary.
Max,
This could be a way
I
out.
wish you could see yourself now.